Hey, welcome back to True-Moto-Resto, and this is the part 10 of the CBX restoration. So in this, it's only going to be a brief video, so in this video I'm just going to finish putting the CBX back together before I park it for a little while. As you saw in the last video, things didn't go exactly as I'd hoped, but it happens. And the good news is I've got all the parts on the way from CMS NL in the Netherlands for the stock OEM Honda parts. So basically chain tensioners and all that kind of good stuff is coming from there. And then Tony Galea from Galea Cam Chain Services in the UK has sent me a new starter chain and a new cam chain. So along with a new gasket kit for the bike, that's going to kind of put us around an additional about $800, and then whatever time it takes me to pull the engine back out and pull it apart again when I get to that point. So okay, so like I said, it's time to put all the body work back on this. I'm going to drain the carbs, take the battery out, and just because it's going to sit for a month or two or three, not longer. I'm not abandoning it. It's but it does have to be put aside while I start something else and muster a little bit of motivation and wait for some parts. So tank has been clear coated, 2 more coats, so there's 4 coats of clear on there. It was sanded in between. So the first 2 coats got sanded, then I put the decals on, and now it's got 2 more coats of clear on there. So I'm going to put the gas cap back on that. There's a bit of WD-40 in the tank, so I'm going to put a splash of 2-stroke in there for storage. I just don't like the tank sitting dry, and I don't need it sitting full. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then the rest of the body work will go back on, and then we're going to move it off the ramp. And we'll switch over to the ZX7. Go. She's all back together. Of course, it's not going to stay that way. It has to come apart again. But there's no point in leaving these things kind of in pieces, languishing in the corner of the shop. That's just not the way you do it. So it's all back together, and that way, whether I leave it for a month or I leave it for 3 months, I know where all the parts are, and it's just neat and tidy. And it looks awesome. It really does look good. So I'm happy with the cosmetic part of it, but just gonna get that engine back out. Not angry anymore, just disappointed. Like I said, the good news is the chains are on the way. I've decided that I'm gonna do the cam chain and the starter chain, and I think today and tomorrow the tensioners are supposed to arrive, and there'll probably be a couple of weeks for the chains to come from the UK. I know they got sent out on Monday, a couple of days ago, so yeah, it won't be long before all the parts are here. The gasket set hasn't arrived yet. Of course, I've got to, that's really the biggest waste of money, is $225 for a full gasket set that I don't need. I only need kind of some of the lower end stuff, but there's just no point in going through the whole process and trying to make old gaskets work again in some of the spots. So better to put the new ones on than to have stuff leaking. That's the way I figure it. I got my ass kicked once on this for trying to cheat my way through part of it, so let's not do that again. I did get the Valkyrie back home. It's unfortunately it's icy and snowy outside, so I cannot get it up to the shop upstairs because that would require driving through half a foot of snow and ice and up a ramp which is covered in snow and ice, and you know, that's just I wouldn't even get 2 feet. So I just basically backed the trailer in here and unloaded it, and this is where it will stay. It's not, I don't usually have the heat on very often down here, so it's going to be kind of a cold storage, I guess we'll call it, for a few months until spring arrives. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to riding this. My original video of my new bike post a few days ago didn't get very many views, so either there's not a lot of Valkyrie fans out there, or there was too much of me yakking and talking and that really didn't appeal to people. So I just throw a quick clip of it in here and we'll see how it rides in the spring. So there she is. She's taken her place in line for a little while. And I gotta say, it does look really nice. Really happy with it, aside from the chain rattle, of course, but we'll get that sorted out. And it's not been demoted to the, you know, the back corner of the shop or anything like that, so it'll be right there, front and center, to remind me that I still have unfinished business right there. But thanks for watching that series of videos. I really appreciate everybody tuning in on a regular basis to watch those videos, and appreciate all the comments, and I appreciate all the advice that different people have given along the way. Keep it coming. I certainly don't know everything about every bike, so I've just got to get better at taking advice and listening when people say, hey, dumbass, change that chain and tensioner while you're in there. I should listen, I guess, and I didn't, so maybe next time I will. I think if I mentioned that earlier, it's going to be about just a little over $800 Canadian dollars for me to do the chains and the tensioners. So that's the cost of 2 chains, the cam chain and the starter chain. It's the cost of tensioners and tensioner parts, and the cost of another gasket set. So that's what it will cost over and above what I had planned originally, in order to get this bike back to a nice riding state. So a little over budget, but you know, you can't not do it, right? I mean, you can't ride it like it is, because if that chain lets go, it's going to make a hell of a mess. Probably take out the crankcase. You can't, if I decide down the road at some point to sell the bike, nobody's going to buy it with a chain rattle. So, you know, otherwise it just becomes a pretty garage ornament, and you know, there's no value in that. So I got to spend the money, got to sort it out, got to get it done right. But anyway, there we are.